Hi friends, my name is Al or Lilstarnerd, and today we're going to be talking about something that is particularly relevant for me right now. I also want to apologize, the lighting is definitely going to continue to change. I'm filming this on a partly cloudy day during the evening while the sun is it's going to be setting soon. So I'm so sorry. In the past few years, I think we've seen a huge boom of people starting their own businesses at home, working from home, being your own boss. With the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs and had to find a new way to make money, or they were home a lot more often and had a lot of free time to pursue their own business. Not to mention just being online and being on YouTube is seen as a very viable career, and it's wanted by a lot of people, and that's awesome. It is so cool to see so many people pursuing this and seeing so many creators and just artists getting to follow their dream. It's amazing. But I think with this large growth of, artistic businesses has come with the grind culture. This grind mentality has really started to seep itself into the art sphere. Not that it's never been there before, but I think in the past few years it's become very popular. And hey, I've partaken. It's fun sometimes to grind girl boss, But when you do spend literally all day at home, there's no reason not to grind every day, and it starts to feel like every day that you're not grinding is a day lost. It feels like every day that you're not doing everything you can to further your business is a day further from success. And eventually, any boundaries in your life stop existing, and your life becomes the grind. I have certainly fallen victim to the mentality that, it's okay to answer an email at 10 p.m. I might forget tomorrow. It'll only take 2 minutes. I may as well. Sure, it's my day off, but I'm going to be spending the day sitting at the same desk that I normally do, so I may as well get some work done because I'm bored, right? Oh, I have free time. I may as well do art. It's my hobby after all. And honestly, it just gets exhausting and toxic, unsurprisingly. Work-life balance is a far-reaching and very important topic that I have a lot to say about, but today I specifically want to talk about one aspect to it. I want to talk about low-pressure creative hobbies, non-creative hobbies, and balance within those hobbies. I've touched on this kind of stuff in my old How to Avoid Art Block video, which I stand by everything I said in that video, but it is pretty short. I didn't go nearly as deep as I could have. You should totally go check that out, but today I want to specifically talk about hobbies. First, we're going to talk about low-pressure creative hobbies. When you turn your passion or hobby into your main income stream, it is suddenly bringing so much pressure and expectation to your life. Something that once brought you a lot of joy is now a source for so much stress. Even if you're not actually feeling that stress, it's there. If you are pursuing some sort of creative activity as a side hustle, as a career, you're probably a creative person in general and have multiple creative hobbies, and designating every single creative hobby as work just isn't realistic. So we can't call every creative activity we do work, but oftentimes all of those creative hobbies are used in our work, or it is associated emotionally with work, with doing things that will be used as content, something that you can sell, something you can make a product out of. Even if those final products won't be used for anything, you're probably still counting that as practice or productivity time. Constantly pushing and grinding in one specific area of your life like that is almost definitely going to lead to burnout and exhaustion. Could also lead to things like art block or straight up just losing interest in art entirely. So it's super important to keep your brain engaged in those activities and mix things up so you're not getting bored. And that's where these low pressure creative hobbies come in. They allow you to stay connected with the artistic activities that you enjoy. It helps you keep positive emotions associated with art without having all the negativity attached. So for example, if you do strictly traditional fine art like oil painting, maybe you pick up a crochet project on the side. Or if you do a lot of clay and pottery and sculpting, maybe you start doing little watercolor pieces for fun. The key here is that despite these activities being art related or generally creative, they're still related to your job and they're things that you can potentially make content out of. Overall, they're still low pressure. Again, I want to repeat this, low pressure. That's the way this works, is if they're low pressure hobbies. You might have goals in mind for these hobbies, you might want to generally get better at them, but they're not going to impact your career. You won't be selling it, you won't get mad at yourself if it turns out bad or ugly if you're not good at it. Ideally, you won't even be using this for content. It'll just be for you to have fun being creative, with no strings attached, including imposter syndrome, or needing it to be good enough so it can be postable. It's for you and for the sake of creation, and just to enjoy it, and yourself, and time with yourself, while still doing what you love to do, art. The idea of low-pressure creative hobbies is to help you maintain a positive relationship with art and creative activities without having all the pressure related to it. Foster creativity, be introduced to new ideas and new practices, take a break from the high pressure that you might feel in your regular art practice or career, have fun, and also avoid burnout by mixing up what you're doing. For me, a really great example of a low-pressure creative hobby is collaging. I suck at collages. I don't understand what makes a good collage. I've done no research in collaging. I don't know what collages are, okay? All I know is I like cutting out scraps of paper from magazines and I like gluing them down in ways that I think look pretty. And that's all that matters. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be meaningful. I don't have to understand what I'm doing. I don't post them half the time. They're just like fun little things that I do to be creative and like spend time in my sketchbook without worrying about the outcome. Having something like that where if I want to work in my sketchbook but I don't want to worry about, do I have to film it? Do I have to post it? Like, what is this gonna end up as? Or maybe no matter what I draw, nothing's turning out good, but I still want to do something creative, but I don't want to be disappointed in myself. It's like, just collage. Just slap some stuff on there, glue it down. Who cares what it looks like? It's fun, and I always feel good coming out of it, even if it looks bad, because I don't care. And like when you make art your job, like before, I didn't really care how things turned out most of the time because it was just for me, but now it's like almost everything I do, I post. And there's always in the back of my head this idea that like it has to be good. And that sucks. It really has the potential to take all of the fun out of art, and there have been times that I've lost interest in art for months at a time because I didn't like the pressure. So having specific things that I can do that don't have that pressure but allow me to enjoy creation it's so perfect. It's so necessary. Now I want to talk about non-creative hobbies, and I think this is one of the most important things that a creative person can have, especially when you're going like the social media route as an artist and your entire life is potentially content. It is so important to take a step back from that and kind of know who you are as a person, have hobbies outside of that, have an interest. It is so important to have time totally away from that, away from goals, productivity, from creativity and art, and know yourself as a full person rather than just an artist or an artist online. My non-creative hobbies include Stardew Valley, Red Dead 2, puzzles. I love puzzling. I play The Sims. I like to read a lot. I like a lot of YouTubers that have nothing to do with art. None of those sound interesting to you? There's cooking, baking, singing, dancing, biking. Just go outside in general. Just literally find anything that you can do that doesn't have to do with art, can't be used for your art, and can't be used for content, including like vlogs, like filler for vlogs. Don't fall into the trap like I did of becoming a very boring art-obsessed person. Honestly, it's just not cute. It's genuinely boring. Even if it means you're speedrunning your art career and you're increasing in skill and talent and audience it doesn't matter. If all you can talk about is art, if all you can think about is art and anything related to that, I'm sorry, you're boring. I'm calling myself out for that. And I also just don't think it's good for you. For a period in college, my life literally revolved around art and art online. Partly because of that, I was incredibly depressed, anxious, and reclusive. I was also constantly art blocked, and I was starting to resent art. After learning from that experience and having similar experiences afterwards, I learned to adapt my behavior. Now I make sure to have clear boundaries between my art/work life and my normal life, and clear boundaries between art and non-art hobbies. I even have 2 YouTube accounts, one where I only watch art stuff and one where if anything art related pops up, I click like don't recommend this channel or don't recommend this type of video. And that way I don't ever see any art stuff when I don't want to see art stuff. And it seems kind of silly and extra, but honestly, that has like genuinely helped like emotionally and mentally. Overall, the goal with non-art hobbies is to be a 3D person, to be a real person, a fully fleshed out human being. When someone asks what you do or like what you're interested in or what your hobbies are, you should be able to say more than, oh, I do art, or list the kinds of art that you do. Your life should not boil down to postable moments and profitable hobbies. Non-creative hobbies come in on your off days, your total break days, your non-work days. I plan on talking about the importance of breaks and taking days off and structuring your days in another video because that's a whole nother topic, but just let's go with the assumption that you have break days, okay? You have days off. When you take those days off, you're gonna need something to do. Ideally, on some days, you're taking days to literally like lay in bed and like be a lazy potato, but sometimes you're gonna wanna do stuff on those days off, right? And what happens when you don't have any hobbies to do? You're gonna do art. You're gonna pull out your sketchbook. You're gonna doodle because it's like, oh, I'm just gonna do it for fun. No, put it down. Or you're gonna be like, well, I won't do art, but maybe I'll plan out my week or I'll answer emails. That's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Stop it. If you're gonna be your own boss, you may as well take advantage of it and like give yourself actual full rest days to enjoy your life as a human instead of working yourself to the bone every day, right? You get what I'm saying? I think it is super important to keep some of your hobbies, as many as possible, non-content farmable. Especially lately with the prevalence of studio vlogs, it's really easy to take quite literally everything in your life and turn it into content in some way. I see people making their tea and that turns into part of their studio vlog, or making their dinner and that's in their studio vlog. And girl, pop off, I love that for you. But also, are you enjoying your meal if you're cooking it on camera? And then you have to like worry about like the shots? So probably not, you're probably not enjoying yourself. It is becoming easier and easier to make literally everything content, whether it's behind the scenes on Patreon or just putting it to your story really fast. It's not fun though. Remember that your life is still your life. Even if you're trying to be like a artist personality on YouTube, your life is still a life and you deserve to live it. And look, I get it. Like, it's really easy. Like, when you get motivated and excited about the idea of like, I'm gonna be an artist and I'm gonna do it and I have all these plans. Like, I do it all the time where I'll set up my week and I'll be like, wow, I'm gonna be so productive. And I get excited about it. I'll get in the zone. Like, I'll get in this mood where all I think about is art again because I'm just like excited. I'm passionate. I'm in the mood to be productive and to dedicate myself. But you know what I've noticed about myself when I'm in those moods? I'm boring. The people around me get bored listening to me just talk about like, okay, here's all the things that I have to do, and here's this piece that I'm gonna make, and I just talk about the same things over and over and over again. It's boring. Like, there's only so many times my mom can listen to me explain my business plan before she tells me to shut up. You know what I mean? When I let my business like literally take over my entire personal life, I noticed that like I just don't have a fun personal life anymore. And maybe my business did really great that month and I'm really excited about it. But also like I look back and it's like, oh, I didn't do anything this month. And like when I take those days off or when I'm done with my work day and I like go on a walk or I go hang out with my family in like the living space and my mind is still thinking about art and all I want to talk about is art, it's boring. But when I go out and I like leave my work in my room and I go out and I fully engage and I watch a movie and I don't worry about this anymore, I have a way better time. And now when I take days off, I can actually enjoy my day off. Non-creative hobbies are really important for so many reasons. And like I said, I think they're one of the most important things that an artist can have, especially for art health. It helps you be a more interesting and well-rounded person. It gives you plenty of things to do on your off days that won't deplete your energy. And it's another great way to stimulate your brain to avoid art burnout. And overall, it's just gonna make you a happier person to have other things that bring you joy than like something that you also kind of have a love-hate relationship with. If you don't have any low-pressure creative hobbies, and especially if you don't have any non-creative hobbies, I highly, highly recommend you work on that. It's gonna help your art career and it's gonna help you like be a better, happier person. Normally, whenever I like give like advice or anything, I try to make it clear that like I'm not telling you what to do. It's based on my experience and that could be totally different for someone else. Generally, I wanna make it clear that like take everything I say with a grain of salt and that what I say is not like a rule. But in this one case, I think most people will benefit from following this advice. I really do. I don't think anyone has a good time when their entire life is dedicated to one thing, especially when that one thing makes them money. Even if you're not making money from it yet, if it's something that you want to be a job or a career in any way, shape, or form, it'll eventually lead to burnout if you spend all of your time doing it. And that's why having this balance is so vital. So even though normally I'm like, oh, like take my advice with a grain of salt, like it might not be true for everyone based on my experience, my opinion, this time, and probably this time only, I'm gonna say, just take my advice on this, okay? Just trust me. Having this balance is gonna save your butt one day, speaking from experience. Without balance, you know what happens? You're gonna burn out. Eventually, you will burn out when your entire life is dedicated to one thing. You'll get sick of it. And you know what happens when you get sick of it? What happens when you no longer want to do the thing that is like the purpose of your life, the thing you're most passionate about? You're gonna be lost, bored, purposeless. Before I realized the importance of having a balance and having other hobbies, I would take sometimes months off from art where I didn't feel like doing it anymore, and I spent all day just in bed with nothing to do. It was so depressing. It made me feel so bad about myself, and I didn't feel good just laying in bed all day, like physically. I wasted days feeling so unmotivated, but I didn't have other hobbies to fill that time, and so I didn't even enjoy having time off from art. And it wasn't until I realized that I need a life outside of art that I started to fully enjoy art. And when I started that balance, I realized it doesn't even happen anymore because I am taking that that time away from art to avoid burnout in the first place. I honestly think that your art career and practice will be so much more fulfilling when it's just a segment of your life that you can dedicate time to rather than a beast that devours your life. When it's not depleting literally all of your creative and physical energy, you get to actually put your all into it. And the best way to build that energy that you can pour into your art is by having a stimulating life in general, by having hobbies that make you happy, by experiencing life outside of making content, and by having the opportunity to see art as just a creative, fun little exercise rather than something that might make you money. And of course, getting to know yourself outside of your art practice and nurturing that side of you is a really important part of taking care of yourself as an artist. And ultimately, it's gonna help your health overall in and out of your art practice. So, takeaway from this video, pick up crocheting, pick up puzzling, read a book, touch some grass, I guess. I'm not your dad, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you from experience of going down this path of making art my career, dedicating yourself to art 1000% isn't good for you. The best way to have a good, productive, and long-lasting career in art is by building a good foundation from the beginning, which includes balance. So I hope you at the very least test out this advice and take some days to fully separate yourself from art and do other stuff that makes you happy, which, yes, does include spending all day in bed and watching YouTube videos or watching your favorite show. Self-care comes in all shapes and sizes and absolutely affects your art health and shouldn't be ignored. That's my video. That's what I have to say on that specific topic. Like I said, there's a lot that I want to talk about in terms of work-life balance. It's something that I've been putting a lot of energy into lately and definitely something I want to continue to talk about. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this helpful in some way. If you did, comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But anyways, that's it for today. Go water your plants, play a video game, and go do some art.